How can I achieve consistency in my golf game?
You can become a more consistent player without ever having to make major changes in your golf swing. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to train your setup and orient yourself to play your ball flight.
When you set up with everything aligned, your shoulders, your forearms, your hips, and your feet, you have the best chance to swing the club in a neutral fashion. I would advise against anyone swinging dramatically in one direction or the other, meaning swinging way out to the right to get the ball to hook or way to the left to get the ball to fade. But everybody's got idiosyncrasies in their swing, and those idiosyncrasies may prevent you from swinging totally neutral, and that's okay. So job one is to understand what your tendencies are when you don't try to do anything. I want you to understand that aligning consistently will reveal to you your average pattern of your golf shot. I'm going to ask you to set up a practice station like I've got here.
I've got two alignment sticks laid down. The one out in front of the golf ball represents the start line, or where you want your ball to begin its flight. The second stick is meant as a reference to help you understand how to consistently place your feet relative to the target.
And if you can align yourself consistently relative to a target, you can achieve consistency in the ball flight and apply those tendencies to play the best golf that you're capable of now. That doesn't mean that you can't make changes in your swing to change those tendencies, but I'm talking about utilizing what you've got now. And wherever we set up our feet, we want to make sure that our knees, our hips, our shoulders, and our forearms are relatively squared. If I set up totally neutrally, my goal is to start from the ground up. I'm going to look at my feet first and make sure that they're more or less equidistant from the stick. And when I work my way up, I'm going to make sure that my knees are pretty well parallel, that my hips are pretty well parallel, that my shoulders are pretty well parallel. And this one's harder to do on your own, but I want to imagine that I could lay this club shaft across my forearms and have a reference for whether my forearms are square as well. Now, whether this is indoors or outdoors, you can use this to set up and train your alignment. You want to have a clear idea of where that stick is pointed. So the middle of a green is my favorite way to practice. So the goal would be to understand where that stick is pointed, hit shots aligned squarely to that stick, and take notes on where the ball tends to end up.
If you're limited to practicing only indoors, that's still a positive because you need to get comfortable seeing a target line or seeing a start line from behind the golf ball and walking in and addressing the golf ball and setting your feet correctly and consistently, meanwhile trusting the start line that you've chosen because your perception changes when you address the golf ball and look at it from the side-on view. For the first 5 shots, I'm going to set up with my feet completely square.
On the map on TrackMan, you'll see that there's a line that matches my alignment stick here. The white line on the map matches this blue stick out in front of my golf ball. I'm going to hit 5 shots, and we're going to see where they end up. I can tell you historically, when I make a golf swing without thinking much, it tends to draw more than anything else. So I'm going to aim at the center of a green, I'm going to hit 5 shots, and let's see what happens. For reference, this is a 9-iron aimed to a green that's 155 yards away.
As you watch this video, pay attention to the orange dots that populate on the map on the bottom right of the screen. Each dot represents one of the shots that I've hit so far. Right now I'm hitting shots with a square stance and no manipulation of the club at all. I'm just trying to make a natural golf swing, and you'll see the numbers in the top right of the screen populate after each golf shot, and it'll show the face angle. I tend to let the face angle close, which a negative face angle is left, a positive face angle is to the right. If the face angle is smaller than the club path, and the club path in my case is most often to the right, the ball will curve to the left. As the video continues, I'm going to show you what it looks like when I hit balls with an open stance as well as a closed stance. When you do your own testing, you want to be sure to pay attention to what the best ball flight looks like and which one you think you can take to the golf course and succeed with.
We saw 4 out of 5 of those draw to the left. So I was pretty in tune with my pattern. Now my job, if I can trust that pattern, is to take it to the golf course and apply it. And I can tell you I play a lot better when I'm diligent about aligning. Of course there's human error involved. You'll see the 1 out of 5 I hit out to the right. Even the best players in the world miss, right? So of course you're gonna miss. But we need to understand what those misses are, and we need to understand what most often happens. And then you can learn to apply this alignment properly and play your best golf. Now that draw is my shot pattern. That's not everybody's shot pattern. And I'm a big advocate of playing your game, swing your swing, as Arnold Palmer used to say. So if we want the ball to start on that line, we need the club face to be aimed towards that line. More or less, we'd like it to be aimed there at address and especially at impact. So when you're hitting the ball and getting it to start on that line, there's no rules about where your feet have to be. If you're more comfortable setting up with your feet open and that's what gives you the sense of where that ball is going to start, that's okay. Now that has an effect on the curve of the ball. So you need to do some testing, and you can pretty much trust your intuition if you've hit enough golf balls. Does this feel like the ball is about to start down that blue line? And if the answer is yes, go ahead and swing it. If the answer is no, try adjusting your feet until you find the answer that you're looking for. Now let's suppose I'm a player who's more comfortable with my feet open. That would be that your lead foot is further back from the target line. But at this time, let's start to practice setting up that way consistently. Let's get a consistent idea of exactly how open you're going to set up, because I guarantee you it's easy to get tangled up when you're out on the golf course if you're just generally open but you don't know how much. I'm a player who draws the ball, so if I'm trying to work the ball left to right, I have to really open my stance to get the ball to just go a little bit left to right. So I'm going to hit that same 9-iron to the same green.
Assuming a square face at impact, this is going to tend to make your path go left and the ball curve right. You'll see in these shots that the ball fades just a little or cuts to the right because my stance is set open. They don't curve much because I have sort of a draw tendency in my swing DNA, and I set up with a strong grip, so it's hard for me to keep my club face from closing and hard for me to swing left enough to make the ball curve. This club path got to negative 3.7 degrees, which helped the ball curve more than some of the others.
So maybe you're more comfortable with your feet closed relative to this alignment stick, and that's okay as well. So let's get a batch of 5 shots with the feet closed, which would more than likely help the ball turn to the left.
So with a closed stance, assuming my face is square at impact, my path will be more rightward and it'll put a curve to the left on the ball. We saw in my early swings when I set up neutral that it was already easy for me to get the ball to draw. So now that I've got my stance closed, it's even easier, and you'll see that my path has an easy time going right, and I still can square the club face, which makes the ball curve left. Now on this shot I closed my face dramatically. It wasn't square, and so it caused a big pull. And so you'll see again as we look at the map that 4 out of the 5 shots wound up left of the start line.
So it's important to understand that you're going to have a strength and you want to embrace that strength. It's a lot easier for me with a closed stance to get the ball to work left than it is with an open stance to get the ball to work right. You'll probably find the same tendency for you one direction or the other. And the important thing is to understand which one you're better at so you can embrace it and go play golf accordingly. But as you saw when I was trying to cut the ball, it more or less stayed straight. The other thing that I would say is you don't want your stance so open or so closed that it starts to affect you when you miss. You have to consider that you're going to miss, and when you do, you don't want that miss to be catastrophic. So let's say that I was drawing it in a strong way. I prefer to set up with my feet closed. I understand that the start line then needs to be a little further right. I'm going to aim it over toward the right side of the green, assuming I want the ball to end on the center. It allows for a few scenarios. One, I can hit the ball dead straight with where I'm aligned, and it would give me a lot of room to curve the ball to the left. So in the next 5 shots, I'm going to aim at the right center of the green, assuming that it's totally okay to hit it anywhere between straight and a pretty big draw before I'm missing my target and missing the green completely.
Through this testing, let's say that I discovered I'm most comfortable with my feet closed. Then my start line, based on the curvature of my ball, needs to be at the right center of the green so that I give myself the greatest opportunity to hit the green. I then need to put in work practicing to make sure that I'm setting up consistently with my stance the same amount closed for every shot. Remember that the name of the game is consistency. And a good teaching professional friend of mine, James Smith, always told me, the hole is never that far from the center of the green.
The whole game right now is me learning to set up consistently relative to these sticks. Now when I'm playing golf, I don't have those sticks. So I have to be so used to looking at them that I can imagine them in my mind when I'm playing golf and I can see them on the ground, and that's how I approach the game. So assuming that you're not making changes in your golf swing and trying to make it curve differently or trying to change your ball flight tendency, this is a great way to go out and use what you already have. We have enough struggles on the golf course as it is, and there's plenty of challenge out there without tinkering with your alignment or wondering what if, how should I, etc. while you're playing around a golf. You have to understand exactly the way that your tendency works for you, and you have to be able to apply it to the best of your ability.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss future videos when they're released. I realize there's a lot of good content out there, but as always, thank you for taking the time to watch mine. I appreciate it. Thank you and have a great day.